Thomas Moore reporting there. Well, for on this, I'm joined now from Bristol by the biologist and conservationist Ian Redmond. A very good evening to you. And for people like you who have spent a lifetime fighting for animal biodiversity and species conservation, this must make acutely depressing reading.
It is, because it's happened on my watch. You know, I've been doing biology and conservation for more than 40 years, and that's the period of time during which these declines have taken place. But what is interesting, and I'm very welcoming of this WWF report, is that the tone is changing. Because for the past few decades, the conservationists have been suggesting that to lose these species would be a shame. And of course it would be a shame, because you know, we just had an event this evening to raise money for ape conservation. And apes, because they share DNA with us, are very appealing to us. But whether they're appealing to us or not is not the objective reason why they need to be saved. Apes are keystone species in those same tropical forest ecosystems that the climate negotiators now recognise are essential for climate stability. So we're not going to win the fight against dangerous climate change if we don't stop deforestation, especially in the tropics. But cutting down trees is only part of that battle, because you have to ask, well, who planted the trees? And usually, in almost all species of tropical trees, it's an animal. It's an elephant, it's an ape, it's a monkey, it's a toucan. It's the species that eat the fruit and then distribute the seeds far and wide, far from the parent plant. They need protecting because they sow the seeds of the trees of tomorrow.
Nonetheless, it's all a bit out of sight, out of mind for some people, isn't it? On their website, WWF say, to put this devastating finding into perspective, if we were talking about the human population, it would mean emptying North America, South America, Europe, Africa, Oceania and China. Why are we not reacting as we should, given the scale of this?
I think because it's been an incremental process. It hasn't all in some places it has all happened at once. I mean, you look at the islands of Borneo and Sumatra and Peninsular Malaysia, they have speeded ahead with their deforestation to the extent that we have in the UK and in Europe, but we took 3 or 4 centuries to do it. They've done it in 3 or 4 decades because they've got machinery and there are more people cutting down the trees. So we're much more efficient at converting natural habitats to agriculture than we used to be, say, 200, 300 years ago. But that efficiency, coupled with a greater number of people, means that we're not just worried about the individual animals. I mean, I am worried about individual animals because I know some of them. They're my friends, gorillas and elephants that I've got to know personally. And of course, I care about them as a compassionate human being. But you have to think of what those animals are doing. You know, every week, an adult elephant is producing roughly 1 metric ton of manure, fertilizing the soils of Africa. A century ago, there might have been 10 million. Now we're down to fewer than 500,000. So we've lost 95% of the gardeners of the forest, just at the point where we realize that those forests aren't just wastelands waiting for humans to convert them to something useful. They're actually providing global ecosystem services. And so the old political statement that it's the economy, stupid, needs to be turned around. It's the ecology, stupid, because without the ecology, there is no economy.
Just quickly then, what can we do about it? We can't undo development. We have cars now, we have aeroplanes, we buy plastic tat for our children. We're not going to step back from that. Are there too many people on this planet? Do we need to find another planet? Do you see any way out of this route we're going down?
I think the key to conservation is a phrase, enlightened self-interest. When people realise it's in their own interest and their children's interests to change some behaviour, they will change it. Of course, governments can help by creating an economic structure that actually does channel some of the money. When you buy something in a supermarket, what percentage of that money goes back to protect the ecosystem services that allowed it to grow? 0 at the moment. But if we can change our economic structure so that we are paying for ecosystem services, that has to be the future. And once you value something and realise what you're getting from it, then you won't regard it as a tax. You'll regard it as a contribution to a future for our children, because that's what we're thinking about.
Well, Ian Redmond, good to have you on, and no doubt it is a message we will hear more of over the coming years. Thank you very much indeed.
I hope so, and from heads of state, not just biologists.
Thank you very much indeed.